Hey, welcome back. Remember to drop a like to feed this fluffy like eating chinchilla. r/AskReddit. Plumbers, delivery guys, doctors, or people in any other line of work usually partake in porn. What is the closest situation you have ever been to which could lead as an opening to a porn plot? I drive a truck for GFS and deliver frozen food. Had to deliver to a jail. They had about 12 women inmates working in the kitchen. A bunch of them start coming up to me and touching my arms and asking how I'm doing. I took the dolly into the freezer and one came in and shut the freezer door and asked if I ever messed around with anyone in the freezer before. A guard quickly came over and removed her and told her to get back to the cooking. You were about to get raped, man. Did a 4-month stint as a GP, family doctor. A woman came in for an urgent appointment for irregular bleeding. After taking some history, I say I need to examine her. She said she was okay with a male dog, so I said something to the effect of, "Just wait here while I get a chaperone." As I get up to leave, she holds her hand up, looks me dead in the eyes and says, "Oh, don't worry, we won't be needing a chaperone." Turns out she was an off-duty police officer with a black belt in judo, and as she went behind the screen to undress she said, "I'm more likely to hurt you than you will me." Most awkward examination of my entire career so far. Edit. For all those commenting below, I work in the UK. The GMC, our regulatory body, has clear guidance on the use of chaperones. They are not always mandatory if both parties are happy without them. Delivered pizza to a house in the suburbs on a Friday night. Door opens and this guy stuffs a $100 bill down my shirt. I'm female, was 18 at the time. I stand there in shock as one of his buddies comes over to grab him and apologizes over and over. Guy was drunk and apparently thought I was a stripper. The other guys in the house are playing poker. I tried to return the money, but the buddy told me to keep it and said they'd tell him the story in the morning and make fun of him for it. Was a plumber for a long time. A few years ago on Christmas Day I had a call for a gas leak. When my partner and I arrived, the lady admitted there was no gas leak. She said she just wanted some company. So she paid the service fee for us to sit there for an hour and talk with her over coffee. Turns out she was a romance novel writer and was extremely lonely. I got some weird vibes like she wanted more from us, but nothing happened aside from the conversation. When we were leaving, she tipped us $100. It was the coolest / most awkward experience of my plumbing career. Edit. Thanks for all the karma, my dudes. 50 Shades of Copper. Not me directly, but my coworker at a pizza place I delivered for during college, in the college city, that is open very late. Some woman called in and ordered some food, was told the wait was going to be closer to an hour. This was pretty normal once the bars in town closed. She told the guy on the phone that if the pizza was there at 20 minutes she would fuck the delivery driver. Of course this guy thinks it is hilarious and tells the manager. Manager decides to prioritize the delivery and send the one older married dude that delivered for us and not tell him what the situation is. The driver comes back white as a ghost and immediately says, "Y'all will never fucking believe what just happened." Everyone dies laughing because we know he's a good dude and would never cheat on his wife. But apparently this super attractive, clothed, college-aged girl answered the door and said something along the lines of, "Well, you made it in time, let's fuck." Driver obviously has no idea what is going on and just awkwardly blurts out he's married, asks her to sign the receipt and dips out. Smart on the manager for sending that guy. Any college-aged guy working there would have probably taken her up on her offer. We all got a good laugh, and the chick got her pizza in 20 minutes. Lots of good stories from that job. An MD that I work with told me a story about his rotation with an OB/GYN. It was a male doctor, and this one patient was always awkward to deal with. So my coworker goes in before the doc to update the patient history. He was a resident at the time, and thinks she seems like a pretty normal middle-aged lady. A few minutes later the doc knocks on the door and enters the room, but he has brought 3 female nurses with him. Usually it is just one. The lady gets all flushed and smiles at the doctor and mentions that it has been too long since my last visit. The doc is very polite and goes over what they will be doing. She was already in the stirrups, covered by a gown. Just a routine pap smear and examination. So he goes over to the patient and lifts up the gown just a little bit, and when he does the lady lets out this soft sexual sigh. The doc looks over at the nurses as if to say, "You're seeing this right?" As he approaches with the speculum he can see that she is sopping wet and engorged. Within seconds of the speculum entering the vaginal canal this woman is moaning and squirming on the table. The duck asks her to please be very still and she replies with, "Okay, I'll do my best, doctor," in an overly sexual way while still panting and making a bunch of small grunting noises. Halfway through the exam she is gripping the table and starts to have orgasmic contractions, and everyone in the room is just staring at each other trying their best to remain professional. After he got the sample and removed the speculum he hurriedly said, "Okay, that's it, we're all finished," and she replied, "Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Hisnam." I asked my coworker if this happened often and he said that he never saw anyone else do something like that. Apparently the lady refused to see anybody else in the practice, but they didn't want to fire her as a patient because then she might make a big deal about it, or worse, try to blame him for making sexual advances. Other than that, she was an easy patient to deal with, so they just got the examination over with as fast as they could and sent her on her way. I delivered pizza for a year. Every Friday night this dude ordered a chicken parm sub, and he would answer the door in just a t-shirt and underwear. Every single time. I wasn't the only delivery guy, but somehow every fucking Friday night at 9:30, I'd hear I was delivering a chicken parm, and I didn't even have to look at the address. Anyways, he had a ferret, and one time it crawled up my leg, and onto my back. And Captain Underpants says, "Oh, she likes you." And all I could think was, this seems like the beginning to a kinky Aspen row. I'm a personal trainer. A client once took me out for lunch and then suggested we have dessert at her place because her kids were at school and her husband was away. Go on. Prepares to unzip pants. Edit. Thanks Reddit for making my second highest comment about wanking it. I used to work in a hotel, frequently doing room service. One late night order came in for a bottle of wine and one glass. Upon delivering it, the lady tipped me generously and asked if I fancied sticking around for a bit and patted the bed next to her. If she was 10 years younger and we weren't so busy that night, I may have considered it. But she only had one glass. How were you supposed to enjoy sticking around for a bit? Selfish woman. I was working as a doctor in an A&E department. Guy comes in with testicle pain, possible torsion. As one of two male doctors in the department at the time, I was sent to examine him. After a quick chat, I have to get to business and examine his balls. Thankfully for him, everything was normal. But during the exam he gets a little excited. I'm professional and just ignore it, but as part of the exam you have to look at their face to see if they are in pain. I notice the guy is actually grinning at me as he gets hard. It was literally something out of porn. Power move. I did some real taxi driving for a while. It seems many women, young and old, watch fake taxi online and want some of the action. Delivered pizzas and the instructions were, "The door will be unlocked, please bring it to bedroom down the hallway." I asked the manager, "Oh, you've never delivered to her? She is bedridden. Her caretaker must not be there. She is awesome. Don't forget plates and napkins." Worked for a Pizza Hut many years ago and we had a regular who was always lying the sofa when we came in, and it looked like she hadn't used her legs in a very long time and was completely bald. We all thought she had cancer or leukemia and always tried to help her out when we delivered. "Do you need anything from the fridge? Can I refill your glass?" That kind of thing. Then she stopped ordering. She ordered every week for about 5 months. I'm a little bit sad even just thinking about it. I had a super hot customer once. She just bought the house. I was doing work in the basement. I was cleaning up and getting the guys out of there. I told that I'd like to collect before I leave. She told me to come back to the bedroom when I was finished. I seriously was ready for anything. She was painting the walls. Womp womp. Used to deliver pizzas. Not my story, but a coworker's, who happens to be one of the most socially awkward dudes I've worked with. Trashy lady answered the door in a swimsuit and asked, "How do I look?" To which my coworker responded, "Hungry." I am a doctor, and during my rotation in psychiatry, when I was a fresh graduate, I had to take a history from a lady patient with erotomania. She was lying on the bed while I walked in her room, but halfway through the conversation she changed her posture to be something similar to Rose in the drawing scene in Titanic, asking me personal questions and intentionally showed me her cleavage. She also accidentally touched my thigh. Being a professional doctor, I continued taking history without any impure thoughts. I understand that it is wrong to have any form of relationship with my patients, and I will definitely not take advantage of my patient's mental illness for my personal satisfaction. That, and also I was in old age psychiatry ward. Edit. Removed 2 words. I'm a plumber who does lots of maintenance in large apartment blocks throughout the city. Often the tenants aren't there during the day, so we call them, arrange a time, and pick up a set of keys to their apartment from head office. I've got a job to fix a leaky shower head, pretty basic stuff. I get the keys, go up to the apartment and loudly knock on the door. No answer after 10 seconds, so I slowly and loudly insert the key into the door, all to procedure. I open the door and walk my tools in when I notice two young women completely stark nude in the kitchen. They seem as shocked as I am, and after a split second I apologize red-faced and back out. I call the number I was given on the work order and one of the women answer. Apparently they were expecting someone else and the shower is fine. I think they were expecting a guy to come in, since the bloke who works the phone for my company has a pretty attractive voice. There aren't many female plumbers like me either. So they just assumed some model-looking plumber was going to show up and snake them. My poop chute needs a good augering. I clean at a hotel. Cleaning the men's public washrooms, and every time a man will walk in already unzipping, so I dart for the door. But at least once a week I'm told not to be so quick to leave. Was sweeping the hallway Friday night and a couple stood a few feet away for a minute, then stood further down the hall. About 5 minutes later the wife asks me to join them in their room. Adding one for my maintenance coworker who was servicing the pool and was asked by a hot tub full of women to join them. He said he didn't have anything to change into. I'm not sure how, but he didn't get in. I showed him this post just now and he is impressed with the likes. Laugh out loud. But he told me it wasn't the actual pool room, it was in one of our rooms with a jacuzzi in it and there were dildos visible in the room. Thanks for watching. Remember, every like puts Mario Chinchilla closer to finding his gold coins.